Welcome back to Jennifer Broussard Art. I'm really excited about today's video. We are going to make our own homemade blocks with Arches cold pressed paper. This is a 4x6 block that I made with one sheet of paper. It's wonderful. I even remembered to leave a slit to cut it off. So here's the 4x6. I made this one after I messed up a bunch of times. Here's a 5x7. 5x7s you can get 16 pieces. The 4x6s you get 20 pieces. These are one of the first ones that I did, and I didn't like that I put the cutoff area, the slit here, on the top. I wished I'd put it over here. Same with this one. It's in the wrong place, at least for me. I'm still going to use them. These are my prototypes. The paper is still good, so I'm not going to waste them. But today I wanted to show you what to do to make your own. I went to Michael's and I got a pad of scrapbook paper on sale for $4.99. There are all kinds of different patterns inside. They have so many of these and they're always on sale. I have sheets of Arches paper already, and I went over to the FedEx store, go to any office store that will let you use its paper cutter, and I wore white gloves, which I don't have. I wore cotton white gloves to handle the paper. So now I have my 15 sheets. I have a piece of the scrapbook paper cut down to 7x7. These are 5x7, and this will go on like this and wrap around the backer board, which is right here. And I got this backer board pre-cut to 5x7 on Amazon. And I will put the link to that and to the glue and anything else that's in here in the description. I saw a video by Andrew Broussard, not related, about making your own blocks. And he used some sample blocks sent to him by Meeden, and he used this glue. It's called CFS Binding Supplies Har Padding Adhesive, and it's for like making pads of paper. So now I'm going to show you. Okay, that's weird. I put down a paper towel so that I don't get glue all over my table. Put this to the side, and I'm going to put this right on top of the backer board. And I made the Arches corner of the paper be the top piece. I don't know if that's showing, but there were actually two of them in one sheet. I think there's one in the back. I think I put it in the back. Yep, there it is. So you get them all stacked up as perfectly as you can. They are hand cut on a paper cutter, so they're not going to be perfect like you would see a regular block of commercially made blocks of paper. I have these 4 pieces of backer board cut so that I can put it on top of the paper and then put the clip on. And this will hold your paper where it needs to be. And I'm going to do that on every corner. Put one here, put one here. I was concerned on the first one that I did that they weren't going to stick. I really didn't trust the glue. I didn't trust that this glue was going to work, even though it did in Andrew Broussard's video. And I had bought bookbinding glue, thinking that that would work better. I bought this one. And boy, did it work. I used it on my 2 prototypes, and it was really hard to get them. Instead of these things, I had put a whole piece of backer board on, and I glued all 4 sides with the exception of the top slit, and it was really hard to get off. Now I can easily get off sheets of paper with a palette knife, but I really prefer this other glue, the one that he recommended. So now I have the whole thing clipped together, and I'm just gonna make sure that I've got everything as straight as it possibly can be, made by human hands. And I'm just going to start gluing. I'm going to move this clip. Actually, wait first. I have to put the tape on so we don't forget, and we don't want to glue part of it so that we can cut paper off as we paint. So it's just 2 pieces of blue tape. I know it won't stick to Arch's paper when I take it off. So now I'm going to move this clip over to this side and put glue on this side. I'm using a super cheap paintbrush. It does rinse out really well though. So you get glue on. You do want to be careful and not get it on the top sheet. You only want it to be right on the edge. And trust the glue, it'll work. This paintbrush is a little bit stiff. Guess I didn't rinse it out as much as I thought I did. I'm going to get quite a bit on the bottom. Make sure that backer board is covered. And make sure that you get your corners. And now I can see that this top piece really needs to be secured right there. Now I'm going to just wipe off the excess glue, and I'm going to go right along the entire length and get off the extra. Okay. The instructions on the bottle say that you can go ahead and do a second coat in a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to move this clip, put it back where it was. I just wiped the excess off the back with my finger. Going to move this one over to here. So I still have pressure on the corner, but it's not in the way of the glue. You are going to notice that the very front sheet, the top sheet, feels like it is sticking up and that there's a gap. So you're going to have to really make sure that you get your glue on that one. Just right on the edge of it. It's really hard to do, but it is possible. Like right there, I see a little gap. And I want to make sure I get that corner. Little gap right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get all the extra off. And get the extra off the back. And I'm going to move the clip back. And then I'm going to proceed for the other 2 sides, which I will go ahead and speed up. And I'm also trying not to touch the paper. I'm only touching it on these areas. So I'm going to now move this one to here and paint this side. Now I'm going to do the whole edges, all the edges again. Okay, move that. Oops. Which I will go ahead and speed up. Once I put on the last coat, I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes. I checked all the sides and it all feels like it's not gonna fall apart. Time will tell, but I feel like it's pretty good. So I'm just gonna take it apart now. Still only touching it by this tape. Yeah, the corners feel okay, like nothing goes anywhere. I'm going to take the tape off from the back. I'm not going to pick on the front because I don't want to mark the paper. And it already occurred to me, it didn't occur to me before, but until I was making the video, that's why Arches puts the black paper on top. So that when everything's being glued, the watercolor paper doesn't get wrecked. But oh well, lesson learned. So I'm going to put the paper on the front and get it all lined up, and I'm going to flip it over. And this depends on where you want, you know, if you put your slit up here, you're going to need to cut your paper a little differently. I cut this 7 by 7 so that I'd have about a ½ inch here and about 1.5 inches back here. So I'm going to now crease it enough so that when I take the block out, I'll be able to see where the crease is and reinforce it with my bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, use like a handle of something. Okay, so I'm going to fold that all the way down and then rub it with the bone folder. And then the same with this crease. Okay, and now I can just test it and see if it works okay. Covers the front. And if I glue it right there, it'll fit perfectly. So out comes the glue again. I've only ever used it with this glue. I don't know if Elmer's glue will work as well. I have tried it with double-sided tape and it doesn't stay as well. So I'm just going to put the glue on the paper so I get it all in the right place. And I'm using that crease as my guide. I'm not gluing this part. I'm only gluing from the outside line and all the way out to the edge. You do have to work pretty quickly because it does start to dry right away, at least here where I am. And then just fold it up. Make sure you get it all lined up. And then again with the bone folder. Make sure you get all the air bubbles out. There. And now you have a block of paper to paint on, of Arches paper. Arches doesn't make 5 by 7 blocks that I'm aware of, or 4 by 6 blocks. And I was really happy when I saw that video from Andrew Broussard, and it really ignited something in me to give this a try. So thank you, Andrew, and thank you all for watching. I hope that you're able to make your own watercolor blocks economically and affordably and blah, blah, blah. I hope that this video inspired you to go and make your own Arches watercolor paper blocks or blocks with your favorite paper. This was very economical, and I did want to point out that I did try to upcycle I have the backer board from blocks of Arches paper that I cut down with a box cutter, and it was really hard to do and made my wrist really sore. So I wouldn't recommend that. I did try to upcycle, but it just didn't work out. These other backer boards are easy to cut on a guillotine paper cutter if you have one of those. Let's see, other tips. Just don't forget to tape off the cutting slit. So now I have all these. I have an abundance of watercolor blocks to pick from now. So that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and are inspired to make your own blocks of paper. If you have any questions, ask me in comments and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.